Greencastle Hill.
Greencastle Hill.
We love to see the Megaliths, the Stonehenge of the Caribbean. They refer to it as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, but it stands out, you know, it's unique in its own ways. Countless of megaliths, volcanic rocks, aligning with the movement of the heavens, you know, so it's going to be a sight to see. Again to everyone, blessed day. Just to officially introduce myself, just in case, my name is Honorable Priest Isaac. I'm your official tour and your official guide for today. Now, as I said, we gathered here for 4 and we should officially move off for 4:30. There's some key individuals that I know should be coming. I have not seen them as yet, but they know the trail as well, so I'm not going to really linger too long. What we're going to basically do, we're going to enter our vehicle, and this is the vehicle that I'm in, and you're going to follow me, and we're going to go along that road just between these buildings here until we reach to the dead end. Then we're going to park, so you're going to see where we park, and you could basically park alongside the road anywhere you please. And then we're gonna take our hike going up to Greencastle Hill. After we park and come out, I may not say much. All you have to do is just to follow me. But then obviously when we reach to certain key points, I will begin to express myself to you, you know. So don't worry, it's going to be a wonderful experience. I'm sure the fact that you are here, you may have some idea or some expectation of what you are going to see. So I wouldn't even waste time to go into that too much now. All I'm just going to say, get yourself in your vehicles, follow R3395. You already got the basic instructions, and let us go and full joy ourselves. So give thanks for coming through.
We take it to the real thing. You don't know, live and living color. Would you be to that? We take it to the real far right, the high priest. You don't know, Rastafari. Would you be outside? Every time. Look at us moving. Come on, let's go. Let's show you what Greencastle Hill look like. Come on, let's go.
Welcome to Greencastle Hill, a region which I have dubbed, rightfully so, Mount Anu.
Located between the villages of Bendels and Ebenezer in Antigua lies Greencastle Hill, approximately 596 feet in height. Now, Greencastle Hill has been referred to as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, and the reason why it was given this name is because of the countless of volcanic megaliths, stelae, that you can find literally littering across this mighty hill. And what is outstanding about Greencastle Hill is that the megaliths literally grow out of the earth, just like the fever grass that is found all over the hill. What is also outstanding, beside the fact that we have countless of these megaliths, and let me just say, the term countless is not to be taken lightly. You literally cannot count the amount of rocks, stones, boulders, steelers that are on Greencastle Hill. The scientist Mauro Imbert from the University of the West Indies, that is in Trinidad, she visited Antigua and she specifically carried out a study. And in her report, she stated that the stones on Greencastle Hill are aligned with the movements of the astronomical clock. She made special reference to the phallic stone, which she said has a correspondence with the celestial North Pole, where we would find very close to such the star Polaris. And this correspondence takes place every year on the 21st day of March, which is known as the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. Greencastle Hill is extremely unique. You have boulders that are emerging out of the mountains in the formation of thrones. 3 thrones can still be seen on Greencastle Hill, facing an area which is known as the Eternal City. In fact, there were 3 thrones facing the east, the old people from the village of Bendels told us, but that was prior to the establishment of the quarry companies that basically besieged the hill and have destroyed at least 1/3 of the hill. Geologists have reported that Greencastle Hill and Antigua in general is an extinct volcanic dome. Maybe Antigua and some of these Caribbean islands are the remnants of the great city known as Atlantis that was said to have sunk in the Atlantic Ocean, wherewith giving it its name. Antigua is a very mystic and unique island according to the history that we have been taught. Christopher Columbus, when he came this way, never really stepped foot on the land, for one reason or the other. He literally named the island Santa Maria de la Antigua, and this was after a holy church, one of the holiest and oldest churches in Spain. Now, Santa Maria de la Antigua, Antigua itself is a word that means, as it sounds, antique, ancient, from time immemorial. And that is also outstanding with the history of Antigua, because according to our griots and our historians, Antigua was never a place that was inhabited by the Indians, the Caribs, and the Arawaks at the time. And this aligns itself with our history, because Antigua is said to have never been inhabited by the so-called Indians of the time, the Caribs and the Arawaks, etc. They literally came to Antigua to worship at Greencastle Hill. They would live in Dominica, they inhabited St. Lucia, and there were Indians in Guadeloupe. But Antigua was considered almost like a church city, a sacred metropolis, where there was only ceremony and worshiping and sacred activities taking place here, primarily on Greencastle Hill. When we go into our ancient history, we observe the city known as Heliopolis. Now, what is outstanding about Heliopolis, first of all, is its location. Heliopolis is located to the northeastern section of the River Nile. It is basically on the banks of the River Nile, to the northeastern section thereof. Now, the River Nile, its path is very similar to the path that is taken by the Milky Way. Now, the Milky Way really is that celestial body that you see when you look up into the sky on a starlit evening. It appears as if it is a river of milk like a elongated cloud running across the sky. That is really the galaxy that we are in, known as the Milky Way galaxy. Now the apparent path that the Milky Way galaxy appears to take in the heavens is the same path that the River Nile takes on planet Earth. What is outstanding as well, the River Nile in the Republic of Egypt, the path that it takes from north to the southern tip of Egypt is extremely similar to the path taken by the Caribbean island chains from Trinidad going straight northwards to the Virgin Islands. What is also outstanding when you look at this similarity, where Heliopolis is, as it relates to its position on the bank of the River Nile, is the same place you'll find Antigua as it relates to its position in the Caribbean island chain on the northeastern section. What is still outstanding, Heliopolis historically is known as the City of the Sun. Helio means sun, like halo, and opolis means city, like a metropolis or necropolis. It's a city. Now, how mystic it is that Heliopolis is said to have had 365 temples. 365 temples built to the goddess known as Sekhmet. And Heliopolis, just like Antigua, was the area where the priests from all over Kemet, also known as Egypt, Nubia, Kush, and all over Northeast Africa and the globe would come and be initiated in the temple of the sun deity known as Ra. Now, as I said before, where Heliopolis is located on the banks of the River Nile is very similar to where Antigua is located on the Caribbean island chain. What is also outstanding is the history. As we just said, the individuals would come from the different parts of Africa and further afield to be initiated into the priesthood order of Heliopolis. In Antigua, as we just mentioned, the Indians, the Caribs, and the Arawaks would leave the different islands and even Central and South America and come and travel to Antigua in the Caribbean to worship and perform their rituals and their rites on Greencastle Hill, right here in the Caribbean.
Yeah, this is the vulva now. Now, it may be, it may catch you off guard, especially if you never really took the time to consider this. But the concept of the male and the female reproductive system is a very old science. It is nothing sick, it's not X-rated, it's not queer, it's nothing like that. It is because of today's culture that we have all been dipped into, that when you start to have conversation about the male phallic, the male penis, and the woman vulva, reproductive system, people want to cover the eyes, the mouth, and the ears, and no, don't talk to me about that and all that.
Get embarrassed,
Real sex education. So in Rome now, in St. Peter's Square, you see they have the obelisk, the tekenu, the obelisk. You see it standing up. That is really the symbol of the phallic, because in ancient time, the whole aspect of the male and the female reproductive system again was a science. So this is why even when you read in the Bible, Revelation 12, you talk about there was a woman in the heavens and she was clothed with the sun and the moon was under her feet and there was a crown on her head of 12 stars and she was traveling, she was in travail, ready to bring forth a man-child who was to rule the heavens and all of that, you know. That's the heavens, that's the stars. You know, the vulva represents the woman giving birth to the man-child. So this is why now, right here, if you stand here, you may not be seeing it now. But when we pass through this forest of bushes here, on the other side, there's the male phallic. And the male phallic, if you could stand up on the male phallic and look straight down here like if you're watching the sunset, it looks like if it's setting right between the vulva. Yeah, right between the vulva here. You understand what I'm saying? So it was designed like that. The sun itself is a fertility symbol. It has to do with life. The sun does bring fertility. That's why during the time of Easter, you see there's this strong significance in the sun. One voice. Because Easter now has a lot to do with resurrection, has a lot to do with life, the sun. So everything here has to do with the sun. Antigua is called Sun City. You know, that's what they refer to it as, Sun City. The 365 beaches are well aligned with the 365 days that the sun has in its annum. We have a sun in our flag, and you understand, which is something unique. You don't see countries with suns in the flag, only maybe Japan and one or two others, but in the Caribbean it's, we're the one, Sun City, the sun in our flag. So this is a sun hill, this is a sun temple, you know.
Coyote Vasto, Caribbean Federation. Yeah, yeah. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Power of the Trinity, universal consciousness. See Memphis kiddos, universal spirit, one and the same, one and the same. Don't you dare make religion drives you insane. Go before us and cleanse our path, and those who set traps burn their dirty heart. Give us life, protect us from the wicked, keep us far from death. Jah, do it quick. Wise mind, high line, seek out and you'll find. Ask and you will get it in time. Don't be like those who rush the brush and get real.
The phallic stone and the vulva. The phallic is symbolic of the penis. It is an ancient symbol. The phallic can be seen in the obelisk. When you look internationally, you see the Tekken, again also referred to as the obelisk, in places like St. Peter's Square in Rome. The Washington Monument is also an obelisk, and there are other obelisks that you will find in different parts of the United States and Canada, some of which were literally taken from Africa and some are just replicas. The obelisks or the Tekkens of Aksum, Ethiopia are slightly different to the obelisks that you find in Kemet. Those in Aksum, Ethiopia are very similar to the skyscrapers that you find in most metropolises. The Tekken or the obelisk is symbolic of the phallic. But in Antigua, we have the phallic in stone. When you observe our phallic rock, you'll notice, yes, it's similar to the obelisk, but it looks exactly like a standing erect penis from all angles. That is why I would say the penis of Geb is right here in Antigua. Several years ago, a good brethren of mine, an elder Ras Bones Cumberbatch, he's a photographer and he follows the West Indies cricket team most of the time. And so he travels to, different countries, Pakistan, India, Zimbabwe, and he brought back a piece of stone from a specific range of mountains in Zimbabwe known as the Madoba Mountains. Now, what is interesting about the Madoba Mountains, it is the mountains of the Great Boulders. It is considered to be very similar to our Mount Anu, to our Greencastle Hill. As you see, that's the hill of the Great Boulders, but the Madoba Mountains is the mountains, range of mountains of the Great Boulders. Now, mystically, at the top of the Madoba Mountain, there is a grave, a tomb for Cecil Rhodes. And Cecil Rhodes, as most would know, one of the former colonializers of so-called Rhodesia, which was really named after himself in Zimbabwe, the ancient Monomotapa. And when you comprehend who these people are, Cecil Rhodes was buried at the top of the Madoba Mountains to align himself with the mixed sticks of the megaliths in connection to, of course, the movement of the atmosphere and the heavens as well. Now, right here in Antigua, at the top of Greencastle Hill, you have the grave of one of the former governors of the Leeward Islands, Governor Baldwin, the Earl of Baldwin. So he actually gave the orders before he died to his, if you want to call them, subordinates, that when he dies, he would like them to bury him at the top of Greencastle Hill, at the top of Mount Anu. And we all know by now that Mount Anu is a very special place connected to the heavens. In the same way that Cecil Rhodes asked those that were attending to him to bury him at the top of the Madoba Mountains, the mountains of the Great Boulder.
I tend to sing out and say, Jah, you don't bow now. Some man you read this, we'll get up one that just intend.
Hey, no you come. Just stay right with me, please.
Acknowledge
No you. Everybody can stay right. Just give me. I say now. Okay, you see that pan here?
Yeah.
When the pan is full now, but when it's half full,
Yeah.
it make a perfect heart. Trust me.
Yeah.
You can even kind of see the outprint of it. But when it gets like it coming in at a specific point, it make a perfect. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, but it depends on where the water level is. If it's too low, you're not gonna see it, and when it's full, you're not gonna see it. But when it's in between, perfect, like perfect. To show you that the mystics, all on the side of that elephant looking here.
Right.
In my book, I show you can see the pyramid there. You can see the head of Heru. You can see Sekhmet. You can see so many things. Anyway, this slab here, right? I refer to this as the solar bed.
Hey man, you follow me,
Good man. If you notice, right?
Hold me heart already.
Here come. If you look right, you have a head rest and you have a butt rest.
Oh.
Head rest.
Yeah.
And it's very comfortable.
So it is obviously a mystic connection with this island known as Antigua, already seen to be a holy church, named after a holy church by Christopher Columbus himself, who never stepped foot on the land. What we must also consider again is that these megaliths on Greencastle Hill correspond to the movements of the heavens. So Greencastle Hill was not just used as a clock, as a keeper of the time and the watcher of the seasons and an agricultural calendar Yes, it was used for all of that. But the priests and the others that utilized the hill obviously used it for metaphysical activities. They had the understanding of the cosmos and the movement of the heavens and the movement of the stars and the movements of the planets and the eclipse and the alignment. They were well in tune with the heavens and its connection to the earth.